As a result of my Voice to Visibility program, my clients have not only increased their visibility, they've catapulted their credibility and made an impact with their audience and income in 60 days or less just by hitting that live button. And I am so looking forward to individuals. I'm looking for individuals like you that want to hit that live button to become fearlessly visible online. And I'm so excited to bring on my guest today, Cindy Collie. She has done just that. And we are going to learn more from Cindy. And hello, Cindy. Thank you for joining me today. And so grateful to have you here on board. Boy, did we have a hiccup last night, didn't we?
Right. We did.
Yeah, we went on to do live. Normally I go live every Thursday evening around 5 o'clock Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. And Cindy's gotten a new camera, a new mic, and she looks beautiful. And you know what? The tech was not going to stop us this week. So that's why we're here. And Cindy, I would love for you to share with our audience a little bit about yourself. So tell us about who is Cindy Collie.
Thank you, Crystal. I so appreciate your program. I live in my hometown. I went through public school and I had a dream. And my dream was choices. And as a teenager, I perceived choices equaled going to college. But my family couldn't afford that. So I made the choice to enlist in the United States Air Force, and I served our country for 6 years. And due to that opportunity, I also attained the GI Bill to go to college. And I used up every dime of it, and I got 3 degrees out of the deal, and I got my dream. And my dream was to teach high school language arts. And I did that career field for a couple of years. And then I found out you learn about your own self through your own gut reactions, right?
Right.
And I actually went back into my dominant career field that I learned in the Air Force, supply chain management. So I found out recently in the last couple of years that the ASVAB test that I took, the battery of tests for vocational school, it's 70% accurate. I'm going, you've got to. Yeah, it's like, really?
Really?
And if I ever was told that statistic before, I never did understand it.
Right.
I'm going, oh my goodness, the things what could we have done with our lives at age 15, 16 to not dictate what we do in life, but channel us in the right direction sooner than later, proactively rather than reactively, by design, not by default.
Yes, I love this. I know I heard you have the ability, you've learned and have done so much in your career field. And share with the audience, Cindy, where all of this has led you. You are kind of going down that path.
Right. It's like this, I really butt into kids' businesses. It's like, so I walk up to a young person that doesn't even have a driver's license yet. And I said, so can you kind of tell me sort of what you think you want to do? And, and it's not so much that they don't know conceptually. It is, we usually don't have the verbiage to explain what we're making a summation for in our lives.
Right.
To piece it together, all the puzzle pieces out there. And as you know, I'm going through it, I'm sure you are too, and the people around us, we're in decision fatigue. There's so many
we are.
To make. And so if anything, even though it can be used for any person 14 years old and on up, our age,
right,
is to help guide that young person sooner than later. So what? He or she's more confident that they are making the right decisions.
Right. I mean, and I look back and look at how much I know we spent on our college degrees and how that has honestly, Cindy, you and I have shared and talked about this, how I'm not doing anything, I went to college mainly for the social skills. It was the social skills and getting out. And what is your ability now in going through what you have?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, and we're baby boomers, right?
Right.
It's just, this is the rise of the entrepreneur. Don't you agree? I mean,
totally,
yeah,
totally. What? And so the sad thing is, our educational system, which we were raised with, which is actually agrarian and 300 years old, has morphed. And our educational system has not necessarily been proactive at going down these channels to where we want our basic education, right? We want to understand about literature, about math, about social studies, and government and history. We want those concepts. Yes, we do. That's to stabilize humanity is, but how can I then channel it for me that's unique to me?
yeah.
And so I'm aware of why I'm making a decision. And it's not that I'm against college. I mean, I loved it. I was in college for 9 years.
Yeah.
What I'm really advocating now is to be a lifelong learner.
Right.
And so does that mean I'm going to go on the job training and have a mentor to teach me? Does it mean I go to vocational school, technical college? Does it mean I go to community college, university, an aviation university? Where does it mean that I go for those resources?
Right.
And basically, predominantly finding out what your learning style is. So then you can apply whatever information comes to you in your learning style, and to be a lifelong learner, which you and I are, it's lifelong learning.
Well, absolutely. We're constantly learning. This is how we grow. This is how we evolve.
Right.
And I know it took me 50 years to find out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it's shifted even in the last couple of years.
Right.
You guys, and we can't do it alone. This is something that, for these young kids and not being able to make those kind of decisions at a teenager, I mean, it's so difficult. So, and I know this, having raised two daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so proud. They are actually learning and have learned and are in the fields that they actually studied in college, which kind of blows my mind, because that is not normal. So I would love for you, Cindy, to share maybe 3 tips that you have for our audience on what it is that you do, in helping people decide in their career, their dominant fields. And you have so many gifts and it's so many great, great stories, Cindy. And I know you guys stay tuned, because Cindy and I will be on the Coaching Forge. We're doing a summit, and I will put the link below in the comments once we do this live. You guys, it'll be August 26th. Yeah, we're about a month away, but stay tuned. We're going to be bringing on other guests so you can hear from them, and it's free. So make sure you click on the link so you can hear. So I would love for you to share maybe 3 tips that you have for our audience today, Cindy.
Thank you, Crystal. These are just broad brush strokes, even though the Collie method goes into deeper, but just 3 major points. It's to collect, create, and convey. Here's an example of what I'm talking about in regards to collection. Let's just imagine that there's 5,000 career fields on the planet. Okay, 5,000. Okay, let's narrow them down. Okay, to at least 500, right? Or 100. How about 4 dozen? How about 2 dozen? How about a dozen? Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of different assessments. They're out there, public domain, just to clarify things. As an example, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Marcus Buckingham. There's many attributes out there, correct? So here's another example, and I'm going to refer to it, is the ASVAB test. Okay. This is just an example of where, not that everyone wants to go in the military, but it's another battery of tests that are out there. They're accessible online to narrow down those fields. Okay. So let's say we're going to collect, let's just say 2 dozen initially, right? Okay. So rather than 5,000, now we've got this itty bitty bucket for crystal that's unique to crystal. Okay. And then we use different assessments, and just to get another, it's like looking at It's like looking at this box, right?
Right.
If we look at it from different perspectives, it's still a box. Okay, so we're going to look at you from different perspectives, and pretty soon we're going to see commonalities. So we're collecting this information. Okay. Then how do you create a path, an idea about you, unique to you, that you can live with, right? So we're going to create a plan. So creating what? Okay, these different assessments. Okay, I'm going to use, this is my favorite career field, underwater basket weaving. Okay, so now that I know I want to learn about underwater basket weaving, I really want to do that. That's what I want to do is, okay, where do you learn those skills? Do you learn it from a local basket weaver? Do you learn it from a scuba diver? Do you learn it at which institution teaches these skill sets? Correct? Okay.
Right.
Then we're going to figure out financially are there in-state opportunities or out of state? And then which schools or institutions teach the skill set I want to learn?
Right.
We figure out financially, what is it we can afford to do in order to get your path. Now, even though I went in the Air Force, I really would have liked to have gone to college right after high school. My family couldn't afford it. So a detour, I still got my dream fulfilled. So there's multiple paths to take. There's multiple ways to go from Seattle to Disneyland.
Right.
So maybe I took another path to get to Disneyland to get my dream, but there's multiple paths to get there. So there's really no wrong path. It's just per what is in your path, in your journey, in order to get to your dream. Okay.
Right.
The last part is to then, how do you convey that to the marketplace, to your school setting? Okay. Now that you know this, okay, here's my 24 career fields. I've narrowed it down to a dozen. Okay. All right. Well, now you know why you want to join that club in school versus that club.
Right.
You join 4-H, maybe 4-H for sewing as a 4-H for pigs, right? I mean, 4-H is a great program. Scouting is a great program. Now you know why you want to get that badge. Okay.
Yeah.
You know why you would need a mentor. Ooh, I want to learn about plumbing. Mom, Dad, who do we know that's a plumber? Well, son, you're going to be a truck driver. No, I want to be a plumber. Okay. Now we're going to gather the resources around us to help get us to where we want to go, to get those mentors proactively rather than reactively.
Yes.
So, okay. Now, another thing that I want to also recognize is Crystal has a unique creativity, right?
Yes.
Here's mine. I'm not.
You have a very unique creativity. You're going to share it with our audience today.
I am. Okay. Now, this is me. I do calligraphy.
Yes, beautifully.
Okay, thank you. And I love doing it. I learned how to do it. I've been doing it for a long time, and it benefits other people because I give them creative energy. It's from me to you. It's very personal, correct?
Yes,
but that's mine. Someone else, it could be making pies. Someone else, it could be checking your tire pressure. Someone else, it could be that I make wooden bowls. We all are creative in some way, shape, or form. So so that's part of our mix, is how is it I convey me to the world? So now another aspect, and we've been working on this, Crystal, because you're my mentor and my accountability coach, and you helped me get online to learn those skill sets. Okay. Is I'm writing a book. May I show my book to you now?
Yes, I would love to see your book.
So
yes, how to be the lead dog of your life. I love it, Cindy. It's the Collie method. So you are developing a Collie method, a program. And Julie, thank you for joining us. Karen, I want to say hello. Yes, Cindy, going down the right path. And are you the lead dog in your dominant career field? And I know you and I have talked about this, Cindy. There's so many people that go through life not living their purpose, their dream. And yes, Julie, you're right. It's all about the who, what, the why. And, share a little bit more about that. You've had some successes along the way with many people in your family and helping them the dominant. Share a little bit, about that and some of the recent examples that you've had, taking people through the Collie method and becoming the lead dog in your career dominant field.
Thank you. What? It actually amazed me, to tell you the truth. Okay. So there's an aspect of also of my program to learn okay, so let's think of a freeway is the highway of life so here's your lane for your career fields that you're kind of pivoting through. And it's not just one or two. We need to be able to pivot given our economy, correct?
Yes.
We're all learning
Yes.
that right now. Okay. Now the next lane attached to it, right next to it, so they kind of weave together, is what is your lane of influence in society?
Mm.
When I found out my lane 2 years ago, I was stunned.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't agree with it. I believe that's what it was. Oh my ever loving goodness. I have been doing this by default my whole life, not by design.
Right.
And so then this is it's an opinion. I have no statistics about this. I think people could easily become depressed or unhappy because they don't feel fulfilled because they're not in their lane of influence.
Right.
So I told
I
you.
love this part, and you,
Right,
you dive in deep with
right.
What is the analogy? It's the mountain of influential. Explain that, Cindy.
Right.
I love this piece.
Right. There are 7 areas, lanes of influence. Some call them pillars. Some call them mountains. And to figure out which lane for you to travel in is, oh my goodness. So here's my analogy. So I become the Valkyrie. Dun, 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 Yes. You will know.
Yeah.
You're an influence in the world. You'll know it by traveling in this lane. Whether you ever get feedback or not, you will know you're influencing somebody. Okay. And then ultimately, which we all want to know, has my life had significance?
Yes. Very important.
And I'm not saying this is the kicker. It's not for teenagers. It is everybody on the planet wants to know, have I been a positive influence on somebody? And number 2, has my life had significance? We don't want to go to our deathbed regretting we didn't do something. Well,
yes.
Okay. So the career field is just the way to go down the pike, right?
Right.
But this area of influence, you marry the two together. Here's an example. Okay. So let's do influence first. I helped 2 teenagers in 5 minutes each figure out their lane of influence.
Wow.
One's in one's in middle school, one's in high school.
Okay. So how did you do this?
Okay. So I did a muscle test.
Okay.
And so therefore, it's very simplistic. It's non-invasive. There's no disrobing. It can happen in the public. You don't need to be in a private setting. It could just be more like one-on-one. Okay. So I ran the persons through a series of maybe even a dozen questions, and I let the person's body give the response. So you're not trying to please me.
No.
What is your body saying to you? And here's
their energy. It's that. Yes. I love this.
So here's an example of the questions that, I take it deeper, but just like an example. Okay. You give 2 negative questions and then a positive question. You mix and match. So you're standing still, flat-footed, and just your hands relax down to your side, your knees a little bit apart, not really far. Okay.
Right.
Then you're going to ask your body a question that's negative, that you know is negative. And here's the dominant question I like, because we all know it's the biggest drug, is sugar is good for me.
Ooh.
So it's not me saying that it's good for you. What does your body tell Crystal? Is it good for you or not? Right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So these kids were probably blown away.
At the
the response.
Right. So if it's a positive, if it's a good thing, sugar is good for me, your body will sway a little bit forward. If it's
Okay.
negative, your body's going to sway a little bit back. It's very subtle. Sometimes it's very definitive. Okay.
Yeah.
Then another question would be, my name is Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
Okay. So does your body move forward or backwards?
Right.
So
Forward.
No, you're
backwards, because it's, backwards. That's right.
Then
Yeah.
you ask yourself, my name is Cindy Collie.
Collie, and you'll move forward just
move forward.
gently, ever so slightly.
Right. Now you know how your body will react. Okay.
Mm.
Then I ask 7 questions, forward and backwards, in regards to the lane of influence. And then
Right.
your own body is going to tell you 1, 2, or 3. Then we do the second set of questions. No, we ask the body again.
Right.
For the most part, a person will have 1 dominant one, maybe 2, rarely 3. Okay. So as an example, let's say your lane of influence is family. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to go teach. Here's an example. You want to go into cosmetics.
Right.
All right. So you want to make sure the family looks good. So there's your career field over here as it applies to your lane of influence.
Right.
Why are you doing something? You want to go teach high school for what reason? Why?
Yeah.
To teach this lane over here.
Right.
You want to become a carpenter, like my late dad, my brother, and I've got uncles that were carpenters, dominant career field, my family but why do you want to do that? Oh,
Yeah.
I want to make sure people are educated about green building or something like that.
Right.
So here's your career field, but this is the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you marry the 2.
Yeah. And I love that. And, I know myself in my book, you brought up a very important point in the Authentic Driven Life that I wrote and my workbook. And it was in the last chapter.
Right.
Am I leaving this planet making a difference and being in significance, and have I been in my lane? And I know it's taken me many years, many mentors to find my unique gifts. And I love, nothing lights me up more, Cindy, than when you discover, and when I have these, influential people on and we hit that live button, and you guys, somebody is waiting for you, and you never know, Cindy, as you know, you never know who's watching you. They may not comment or like on Facebook, and there's so much noise going on. And this is something you and I have discussed so often, so many times, and it's just really being authentically you, speaking from the heart, and getting your message out. And we all have a story, and we're not going to dive into it today. We will another time, because Cindy has so much knowledge, so much influential in this. I love the power, this influential and the mountain of influence that you've done. And I just want to say, how do we find out more about you? And I'm going to have you on again before we do the Coaching Forge Summit. And so much to learn from Cindy Collie. And I want to thank you for being my guest today. And you know what? Tech did not stop us. Didn't get in the way. We figured it out. And you know what? For everyone out there, Zoom settings on your mic and on your camera is completely different than StreamYard. It's different. And you definitely each time have to go step by step, and then the browser, and we didn't let it get in our way. We didn't even though it got really late last night, it was like a little too late. That's why we're on live today. And I was bound and determined to get you on before you head into work. Cindy, I so appreciate you. How do we find out more about you? How do we find out more?
Thank you. First of all, I want to honor the person that I learned about the mountains of influence. I want to be honorable to my mentor.
Yes.
Johnny Enlow, ENLOW. Johnny Enlow. I want to honor him. And then to find out more about the Collie method is, I'm on Facebook groups, The Collie Method. COLLIE.
Yes, love it. Any parting words for our audience before we go about our day? I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Karen. If you're watching the replay, do hashtag replay. Reach out to us. Reach out to me. I have a special guest next Thursday, Steph Mariani. We're going to dive in deep with her. And man, does she have talked about influential woman in Hawaii and with music and everything. Cindy, I'm so excited to get her message out to the world. And, any parting words you want to share before we wrap it up and head into our day?
I came up with this quote. This is my personal quote. I think my first one is, "We have crossed the Rubicon River over to the digital world, and we are not going back."
No, we're not.
We're not. It's not going to. Now we know that, Hannibal and the elephants, right? Is we have to go online. We have to have social media presence. And I'm not talking about any one social media, but no longer can we just do things the way things have been done in the past. We need to integrate them with the technology of today and the future. And the sooner the better. And we need to also dovetail into an area of entrepreneurship, which is not necessarily something that we've learned from our systems, but that is one of the areas that I'm going to espouse, pivoting in the Collie method. It's not having a day job. It's not being creative. It is how do you integrate each of these different aspects. And as we well now know, all of us know this, we need to be able to pivot given what is going on around us. No longer can we rely upon only one dominant career field. We have to be able to pivot between 3, 4, or 5.
I love that because we need different income streams because you never know what's going on in the world. And yes, there's been many, many shifts, many changes, and you guys go out there, hit that like button. Let me know, reach out to me if you'd like to be interviewed. I'm looking for people. Denny, I'm going to find you and I'm going to get you on here one day. And Cindy, thank you for being patient and having the patience in working through the tech. And you know what? We're never too old to learn this, these career fields. We're never too old, right?
And then for baby boomers like myself is I'll never retire. Never. No. I'm going to have things on my day timer 3 years after I'm back and on the other side of the veil is the skill sets we can learn to make this phase of our lives, whichever phase it's in, to be vibrant.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful day, Cindy, and take care, everybody. And we will see you soon. Go out and make it a great day. Go out and hit that like button. Bye.